All right, welcome back to the computer science. What did we learn about yesterday? I think we finished up on code blocks and indentation, so string wrapping and multi-line. Actually, no, we already covered that. Yeah, I think we already talked about that. So let's just jump into the next section, which was next unit was no, 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 no. We were not talking about code. We were talking about membership operators and identity operators. I believe we started yesterday with identity operators, which are is and is not, which checks identity, does not check value. That you just use standard equality operator or inequality operator. So it's checking ID. Is it the same? Are both variables linked to the same object or not? So if you assign a variable to another variable, they're going to be linked to the same object and have the same ID, unless it's an immutable object and you update that immutable object. Otherwise, if it's a mutable object and you assign x to y, and let's say it's a list, x is a list, or y is, y is a list, you assign x to y, now they're both pointing to the same ID, they're pointing to the same list. If you update an entry on y, it's going to update the same entry on x. If it's an immutable object, though, such as a number, and you update that number, well, now they're going to be unlinked. They're not going to be the same because you're going to have to rewrite a new object. Output's a Boolean. I think that's basically everything. With that, we have done membership operators as well. In, not in. That's checking whether a substring is in a string, an element is in a set, list, dictionary, but only looking for keys, not values, or tuple. I think that's basically everything. What am I forgetting? How did this take all yesterday? Check if an element is in or not in a container / sequence type, returns Boolean, can check if a string is a substring. In dictionaries, membership operators only check keys, not values. Identity operator is not, outputs Boolean. Is determines if two variables are the same object based on ID, not value. Pre-creating / object, caching / something, object interning. I forgot to check that after yesterday. Object interning. This is where some Python interpreters create like a whole bunch of small variables or small values initially, so that if you have to create a bunch of different like ones or twos or threes or whatever, they just get assigned instantly to that. Any variable assigned a value of 1 already goes to a pre-created 1 that's just doesn't change, never gets overwritten probably in the Python interpreter. And so that's just, it's an optimization thing. Assigning just a note for when you're doing ID / identity operators, it can throw stuff off. Just a note there. Assigning two variables together, link them to the same object. Okay, we already got that. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and jump back into the textbook and continue learning, and then I'll be back to recall what I learned in a little bit. All right, so we got through the next unit, which was on common data types. It was just a refresher kind of overview, tying it all together, the data types we've covered so far. So really there's 4 common data types we've covered so far. We've covered numerical types, which are floats and ints. We've covered sequence types, which are strings, lists, and tuples. Mapping type, which is dictionary. Set type, which is a set. All of these, aka the sequence type, mapping type, and set type, are all containers. Container types-ish. They're a broader categorization. They're containers. Then we started the next unit, which is on for loops. So for loops iterate over each element of a container. The statement is for variable in container colon. That's how you initiate or start a for loop. And each element of the container is going to be assigned one at a time to the variable in that statement. So I think that's basically it. Yeah, that's it. So I'll be back for one more shortened session later today to end out week 7, and we'll be into week 8. So crazy. That's it for today. I will talk to you tomorrow. See ya. I'm back for computer science. We're going to wrap it up week 7 here with a short little session to wrap it all up. Earlier we were looking at data types wrap up and beginning to look at for loops. So I'm gonna jump back in, continue learning, and then I'll be back to recall what I learned in a little bit. All right. 2 notes. First, when using a for loop and iterating through a dictionary, it's gonna iterate through the keys, and in the order in which they were the keys or I guess the entries were inserted. There was one other note. Reversed function. Reversed function will reverse an ordered container. So you can use it in the declaration of the for loop in order to iterate through the list or tuple or dictionary in the reversed order. So we're not quite done with 1.4 or lecture 14. We're done with notes though. We'll be done with this unit within like 5 minutes tomorrow, which is great because it's due tomorrow. After that, we'll be into lecture 15, which is on looping with range, with the range function, it looks like, nested loops, and while versus for. It's crazy to me that there's only 28 lectures, so we're over halfway now. Well, we'll be over halfway tomorrow, I guess, but we haven't even gotten to functions yet. Which is crazy to me that we don't get into functions until lecture 17. So crazy, but hey, it's a good textbook, so I trust it. But anyway, that's it for today and week 7. I will see you tomorrow in week 8. See ya.